stronger party than the Green Party. You know, still small, medium size, but still decimated.
I think if we're very quick, we'll get another three. So it's 1, 2, 3, and then we'll see.
Try to do as many as possible.
Okay, and thanks, because I've been involved with the Cambridge, so some background in this. Oh, I'll wait. Just a comment is that I think the Greens, the Irish Greens, believed their own hype, because there was a meeting in Edinburgh where they were going on before the European election, and they seem to have given up on it, and they used to have 2 MEPs. So I'd be interested in any comment about that, because they seem to have just failed on the European achievement level at all. But the second point is that I find there's hope in the situation that there is now, because the Greens, in the end, there's been a backlash and there's a bottom line, and if the people if the ministerial level aren't going to put it there, then the members will ought to come from somewhere else. So it's an opportunity as well as kind of a bottom line, and I'd just like your comments about that.
Well, just a general comment. Obviously this whole question raises fundamentals about parliamentary democracy and the doctrine of collective responsibility when you're in government. And that is something that Greens throughout the world, in fact, have to take account of. We can't actually deny that exists. I mean, therefore it's a very cautionary tale, and obviously in Ireland it's a particularly cautionary tale about the dangers of that. The problem is that if you're signed up to the democratic process, then what happens when you do start getting into elected positions? And the problem, it seems to be for Ireland, I'd like to know why from the Irish Greens actually went to the Irish membership and said, you know, do you want us to go into government? You said through, and the overwhelming response was yes. So what in that scenario are the elected Green representatives to do? I mean, do they then specifically say, well, okay, we're only going to government to Fianna Fáil? Well, everybody knows that in the political game you can't actually state that obviously beforehand, because it gives away the power that you do have in terms of negotiation. So how do you answer that when your membership says, yes, we want you to go into government, overwhelmingly?
Mind you, I'll say that they met, and I think that the power and the influence and the hype.
Can Bronwyn answer?
Yes, I know. Yeah. But there was a lot of hype there at the meeting before. I'll take your part in this statement as well.
So I'm not sure if stranger things have happened, but maybe after the next general election here, Caroline Lucas might be offered the portfolio for energy and climate change. And then, this is not just a question for the platform, but for all of us to think about what are our bottom lines. But more generally, from the example of New Zealand, they have a very interesting development after they adopted a new system of, a new electoral system, that they have this possibility of having ministers who are not in cabinet, and they report directly to the Prime Minister. I think it's called confidence and supply, and maybe that's one tactic that we could use if we are in that position. But I think there's still the general sort of presentation that has to be kept in mind, that you have to keep what the promises you have made, both to your membership and to the electorate. And the other thing is that you have to be prepared to pull out when your bottom line is breached.
Thank you. Now we are officially out of time, so if anyone's going on, thank you very much for coming. But otherwise, I'll just ask Bronwyn if you would just round off on
the... about the rebuilding, obviously yes, the members aren't going to vanish if there's no TDs, no councillors, no nothing. There'll still be a party. But the point is that I was making, it set everything back 10 years. I mean, it's just a lot of time wasted, a lot of, even though there's always opportunity, but this has been, in my, a disaster. You know, just wait another 5 years, it might have been even better. The whole system of how we governance make decision making is actually at the crux of all of this. So if you really look at the problem, it's the system, maybe not the individuals. And if you want to be part of that system, you have to compromise yourself maybe too much. And you say the TDs were voted to go into government. It really was the other way around. They came to the members, and I'm going to use an Irish phrase, they were gagging for it. Do you know what I mean? And if I've been really, there was a desire there, a strong desire to it, and it was palpable. And they phoned up members, each TD got 50 members to phone up. You know what I mean? So there was a personal, it'd be like me asking a best friend, look, I have a chance to become a minister, are you going to deny me that? It was as personal as that.
And the answer was yes.
Well, and that's what I was trying to say in my speech. If they said no, they were denying a person that they knew very well an opportunity that that person may never get in their life again. It was as personalised as that. So, do you know what I mean? And there was sort of a heady atmosphere. It was amazing. The atmosphere in, just quickly, because this is really important as well, if you learn anything from this, when you have a room full of people very close together, a dynamic can happen. If you've ever experienced it, I was Deputy Lord Mayor of Dublin City Council. I used to experience this when I was Lord Mayor, Deputy Lord Mayor. You visit people on their very special day, and a sort of strange pinging goes around the room. I think no psychoanalysts know what it's all about. And fascist leaders have used it very successfully. Even myself at one point says, I'm going to vote to go into government. I had to slap myself, you know, because it was like a major wow. It was like being at a rock concert, you know, you wanted it to happen. It was very interesting experience. So, you know, so you have to make decisions. It might be the best way to make decisions, but let's put it that way, you know. Sorry, bottom line, your point would be very tempting, you know, have this sort of, but does, say Caroline, is she allowed not vote for other things that you would find unpalatable, you see? The problem is this collective decision making. The whip, you know, you're voting through stuff you never would have believed you would have been voting for. That's the problem. Often in local authority councils you might have voting hats, but usually there's no whip on policy. I don't know if that's the way it is in Ireland. You can agree to vote each other into chairs, but you can opt out on issues, you know. But, you know, you have to really look at it carefully, you know, to go through all the pros and cons, I think. I think that's it.
Joseph, do you want to say goodbye to everybody?
Yeah, and thanks a million.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone for coming. I hope any of you who haven't joined me left might be interested. Come and speak to me afterwards. And I'd like to thank Bronwyn very much for coming over from Ireland.